The trick to all art is to deceive people, and you're deceiving people. The greatest artists are deceiving people in a sense that they don't know they're looking at art. You know what I mean? Like a painting will be able to capture light with paint. And you look at it and be like, oh wow, it looks like a bright sunny day, you know, like there's a light source, but it's just paint, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's no faces in the portrait, you know, you're looking at a whole bunch of blobs of paint that somebody arranged in a pattern that you recognize as looking just like the image of the subject matter, you know? And that's being a master. That's being able to master that art to tricking people, you know, like, oh, it's a photograph. You know, people take that so lightly because it's so far beyond them, because if somebody's really good at what they do, they think, oh, it must be easy.
They make it look easy.
They make it look easy. You know, maybe they've been doing it for 50 years. But they're like, oh man, why should I pay this guy $100 to, you know, do a sketch? You know?
You know what? I think about that too. Like sometimes with a lot of the things that I do, people may think that it may just be easy for me to do certain things, not realizing all of the time and energy and effort that I put into learning things in order to get to the point where I've developed a system to be able to produce certain type of projects.
Well, no doubt. I mean, but who are people? You know what I mean? Like, the thing is that most people think that everybody around them has their own separate thoughts and it's all inherent and
it's their thoughts.
That's what they think. So they don't realize the oneness and all that. And not being able to perceive what I call the mirror, not being able to see it, you know, with a big S. They think, oh, they're out to get me. It always leads back to that. It will always, even if they think everybody loves me, well, soon they might hate me. You know what I'm saying? I need to be the best. I need to be perfect. I can't have any wrinkles in my clothes because they're looking at me. You know? And so there's different plateaus that are inevitable on your way, you know, on the path, on your way home or whatever, you know, however you want to describe it. And some of those plateaus, like for example, when a master and a student are playing chess, and a master has already figured out all the moves on the board, and they got checkmate. If you're just playing a normal game of chess, they could just, you know, tell you to lay down your king. It's over. You know what I mean? But if you're the student to that master, they'll play it out to show you all the moves and everything, to the point where, you know, you should be able to sit down once you become a master and not even have to touch the board. You're just looking at it, but nobody's made a move yet. It's all based on that first move. That first move sets out all the possibilities, you know, and then you're reading the person across from you, and maybe you've played with them before, and so they're predictable, you know. So there is no opponent. Our opponent is everything that we are, you know. And so if we're creating our opponent, that's also creating us. Just like, you know, Spider-Man has Venom and Superman has Lex Luthor. You know, there has to be that villain that is the same as a lot of times in those stories they were friends or partners, you know what I mean? Because if I'm saying, like, if you're a racist, bigot redneck, then I'm saying I'm not a racist, bigot redneck. So I'm actually defining myself based on you. Okay? But right there, that's an ego trap. You know? So what's the measuring stick there? A racist, bigot redneck. So my measuring stick is real small, right? So if I'm basing you as my supervillain, it's like in that movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis, you know, the new one's coming out, Glass. Well, Mr. Glass, Samuel L. Jackson's character, is a supervillain in the sense that he's a super genius. Well, he found and made his villain, you know, his nemesis, somebody who's unbreakable. And he did that because he wanted his rival to be the best, so that he could be the best. So he's not looking at himself as a supervillain, he's looking at himself as somebody who doesn't want to stop knowing. You know what I mean? And so he has created an opponent in somebody else and said, look, we were created for this. You know, this is our purpose. And he can only run that game if he successfully convinces Bruce Willis's character that he's his villain. So he'll go to the end of the earth to do that. That's his purpose, you know?
Yeah, it reminds me of one of our lessons. We talk about how God made devil. And in the answer, we say to show forth and prove our power that we're all wise and righteous. We can make this devil and basically give him the power to rule the earth, and then without falling victim to that devil civilization, which ultimately shows and proves who you've always been. You know what I mean?
And that's what it is. That's the ego, big E. That's the ego game. A lot of people don't dig into Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, and you know, I studied psychology for years just because I want to know how the mind works. And what I learned was that the ego is a false self, it's like a straw man. You know, so anything that you put into it, your interests, your thoughts, your feelings, you're constantly programming yourself. You know, like you'll see like a big fat lady. You know, a lot of women will do this and be like, oh, she's gross. Well, what they're saying about themselves is, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to ever look like that. You know, so they're creating a mental illness in themselves, you know? And that's the ego. It's self-image, but it's warped. Because the self, as we come to understand and we know it, is beyond that, it's transcendent. And so people have to learn about the ego to know who that opponent is. And the ego created the devil. So that the ego has somebody to blame. So the way that I see it, based on the prophecies that I put in the book, like with the 4 races, is that this being the 4th age and the white man's time to rule. Okay, and it started with the black race, and then the red race, and then the yellow race. And we know that there was a great flood. We know that, you know, there were other ages. This age will come to an end with the resolution being the black race, the red race, and the yellow race all have to forgive the white man. And the white man's task is to admit that he was wrong.
Dang. That's a challenge.
That's the challenge, right?
Because when you're saying you're wrong, that means you have to call into question institutions.
Everything.
You gotta call into question the way that resources have been distributed. You know,
if you say you're
economies.
white, I know, man, and this is why all my white friends get on me. You know, they want to own me. They want to say, "You're white, Ken. You're white." You know, like they don't understand I'm half Sicilian. You know what I mean? So they look at skin color, but it's not actually about skin color. You know. So and there's nothing wrong with being white in terms of your genealogy, you know what I mean, and your culture,
but like your nationality and
it's nothing. You know, it's the mentality that you know the white needs to be on top. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I really want to break through with this book and these teachings, because I think that the other 3 races can forgive. I think we've already got past that. I think we're at the point where the white man has to admit that he was wrong. And everything in our American society today is pushing that. You know what I'm saying? It's pushing that button. Like Liz and I were watching Rest in Power, the Trayvon Martin documentary. And it's like, yo, come on, man. Like, you murder a kid, and everybody wants to act like that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I just seen today that there was a white cop who was off the clock, and she walked into someone else's apartment thinking it was hers. Okay, it was a black guy, and she seen him in there. She thought, oh, he must be burglarizing me, and so she shot and killed him. But it was his apartment. How are they gonna spin that to be like, well, he was threatening? You know what I mean? She's got to admit that she was wrong. There's no other way. There's no other way that they could say that that was justified. That's not justice. That's not how justice. We don't get to define justice. We don't judge it. You know what I mean?